Okay, good morning, students. Today I'm here to do one lesson from your English textbook, The Moments. Okay, yes. And the name of the lesson is Weathering the Storm in Ersama. Okay, so that is the lesson. Okay, yes. So the lesson is Weathering the Storm in Ersama. Okay, so this is the lesson. Okay, yes, this is from the chapter number 6 from your Mormon's textbook. Okay, yes. So this particular chapter, it's based on a true story. Okay, yes, it's based on a true, true story, and like you can see, it is the story about a storm in a small place in Orissa, Ersama. You got it? Okay, yes. So Ersama, it's a name of a place. Okay, yes. And this place is in Orissa. Orissa. Okay, yes. So there will be only, what should I say, one R. Okay, yes. So Orissa, sorry, yes. So this is one of the states in India. Okay, yes. So there was a very powerful storm in Orissa in 1999. So probably this would be the most, what should I say, biggest storm, or you can say cyclone that was hit. Okay, yes, that have ever which would have hit one state in India. So Orissa. So that Ersama is in Orissa. Nowadays we have changed the Orissa. Okay, yes, the name we have changed. Nowadays we call it Odisha. Got it? The new name of Odisha is Odisha. Like in India, you have seen so many change in the name. For example, Madras. We used to say Madras, but now the name is changed into Chennai. Okay, yes. We have Bangalore. Now the new name is Bangalore. Okay, yes. Likewise, we have Bombay, and the new name is Mumbai. Now there are so many changes. Okay, change in the name. So we formerly used to call this Orissa. Now it is changed into Odisha. Okay, yes. So I told you this is a true story about 1999 devastating storm in the Orissa state. You got it? Okay, yes. So weathering the storm in Ersama. Okay, yes. So weathering means you tackle. Okay, yes. Whenever you go under some problem, then you face that. Okay, so that is called weathering. So the people are which is challenging. The people are which is struggling, facing. Okay, the storm in Ersama. You got it? So this is a true story, and which was about a small teenager, a 19-year-old teenager. Okay, his name was Prashant. Okay, so this is a story about that 19-year-old teenager named Prashant when Orissa was hit by a powerful storm in 1999. Okay, and this story talks about how that 19-year-old, despite his what is a young age, he just volunteered himself to become the leader of his village, and he started working for the welfare of the villagers who were badly hit by the storm. You got it? So this is, I told you, this is a story based on, which we say, the true event. Okay, yes, it is about the 1999 powerful storm in Orissa. Normally during the monsoon time, the places around the coastal area, we used to have the storms and we used to have cyclone. So by the way, storm is a very powerful wind which also brings thunder, rain, all these things, and it destroys so many things. So we have got so many natural disaster. We have got natural disaster like earthquake, we have got volcano, we have got storm, cyclone, so all this. And because of all these things, it, which will say, produced lots and lots of destruction. So in India, 1999, there was a powerful storm, and because of that, there were so many, what should I say, number of deaths amounting to thousands, and there was a loss of property, loss of what should I say, animals, so many things. Okay, yes. So it's very important for us to know this important event in what should I say, in India. You got it? Okay. So I'm going to go through this. You don't have the textbook, but I'm going to read this para by para, and I will, what should I say, explain. Okay, yes. So let us read this. I'm going to read this. Okay, yes. On 27th October 1999, 7 years after his mother's death, Prashant had gone to block headquarters of Ersama, a small town in coastal Orissa, some 18 kilometers from his village, to spend the day with a friend. In the evening, a dark and menacing storm quickly gathered. Winds beat against the houses with a speed and fury that Prashant had never witnessed before. Heavy and incessant rain filled the darkness. Ancient trees were uprooted and crashed to the earth. Screams rent the air as the people and the houses were swiftly washed away. The angry waters swirled into his friend's house neck deep. The building was of brick and mortar and was strong enough to survive the devastation of the wind's velocity of 350 kilometers per hour. The cold terror of the family grew with the crashing of trees that had got uprooted and fallen on their house sometime in the middle of the night, damaging its roof and walls. Okay, yes. So, things you have to keep in mind. Okay, yes. So, on 27th October 1999, okay, there was a very powerful storm in Odisha. So, I will write the new name. Okay, Odisha. Okay, there was a powerful. So, we have got that, which is a protagonist, the main hero. We have got this Prashant. How old was he? He was just 19. Okay, yes. Now, during that time, which is a, it has been 7 years since his mother had passed away. Okay, so one day, what did he do? He just went to, which is a Ersama. Okay, this is the place, Ersama. Okay. This is a place, okay. He had got a friend there in Ersama. So he went to spend the day with his friend in that place, Ersama. Okay, yes. And he did not know, he had no idea. In fact, nobody had the idea that something drastic could happen. Okay, yes. So in the evening, what happened? And the storm started, what should we say, coming. Okay, and during the evening, there was a very powerful storm. And storm, you know, okay, yes, it's very strong and it has got a very destructive power. Okay, yes. Now let us go through all this. Winds beat against the houses with a speed and fury Prashant had never witnessed before. Prashant, he was just 19 years. He had never seen such kind of storm. Okay, and heavy and incessant rain. Okay, yes, I'm going to write some of the words here. Incessant. Incessant rain means continuous without any stop. Okay, so that is what happens during the storm time. And rain, and every place become dark. Okay, and what about the trees? The trees, the ancient, which used to be very strong, even they were just crushed. Okay, yes, and there were lots and lots of scream. People were screaming. Okay, obviously there will be lots and lots of commotion. Okay, and the houses the houses were also washed away. And you just look at the speed of the wind. Okay, the speed of the wind was 350 kilometers per hour. Okay, yes, 300 kilometers per hour. Now you can imagine. Okay, yes, for example, our motorcycle, we used to, even if we drive at 100 per hour. Okay, and we used to feel very fast. Okay, now think of 350 kilometers per hour. It's a huge. Okay, so it has got the power of destroying everything. So look at the houses. Okay, the houses which are not that much concrete. Okay, concrete. So concrete house is a house which is made of bricks and cement and all these things. So some of these concrete houses, they were strong and they were able to resist the the wind and the storm. Okay, other houses, they were just carried away. Okay, now what about the house of his friend? Okay, his friend house was made of concrete, and he was able to survive this strong wind and the storm. The only thing it got was it got its roof and wall destroyed. You got it? So that was the beginning of the storm. Okay. Oh yes. Now let us go to the next one. The crazed destruction wrought by the cyclone and the surge of the ocean continued for the next 36 hours. So the wind and the storm, it did not stop. Okay, normally during rainy season in our places, okay, sometimes the rain comes. We used to have incessant rain, but normally the rain stops after 1 hour or 2 hours at the most. Okay, but here it continued for how many hours? Yes, it continued for 36 hours. So can you imagine if you receive strong wind and rain for continuous 36 hours? Okay, the whole place will be destroyed. Okay, yes. So that was the power of the that storm. Okay, yes. And in the next morning, the wind speed just reduced. Okay, yes. So that was the plight of the Prussian. He went to stay with his friend, and suddenly there was a very powerful storm, and he was away from his family. Okay, yes. And then obviously he would be worried about his own family. What would happen? Okay, yes, because of this unprecedented storm. Okay, yes. So, to escape the water rising in the house, Prashant and his friend's family had taken refuge on the roof. Okay, now after 36 hours of incessant rain, then their houses will be filled with water. So, there is no place for them to stay. So, what did Prashant and his friend's family do? They took refuge. Okay, they took refuge on rooftop. Okay, yes. So rooftop, the water level may not reach. Okay, so at least they will get some place to stay. Prashant will never forget the shock he experienced at his first glimpse of the devastation wrought by the super cyclone in the grey light of early morning. Okay, yes. And then the next morning, you see, there was a little change. So they all, his friend and his family, they were on the rooftop, and on the rooftop they could see everything. Okay, so Prashant, he had never seen such kind of devastation. He was just 19. You can imagine if something of this sort come in your place and you are just a teenager, how would you feel? Okay, the same thing was happening to Prashant, and he could see everything. Okay, yes, from the rooftop. You got it? Okay, yes. A raging, deadly brown sheet of water. Now you see how this picture is described. A raging, deadly, brown sheet of water. Okay, brown sheet of water. Brown sheet of water. Now this is how the writer described. Okay, yes, the water is not clean. It is mixed up with so many things. Okay, so the brown sheet, the water looks like a big sheet. Okay, yes. should have covered everything as far as the eye could see. Now, which Prashant were looking from the rooftop and he could see a brown sheet of water. Okay, yes, covered everything as far as his eye could see. Only a fractured cement houses still stood in few places. Okay, yes, everything, the whole village was covered by this brown sheet of water, and there were few, what should I say, cement houses. I told you, concrete houses. Okay, they were just lying on the water. Otherwise, all the, what should I say, the poor houses were already, what should I say, deep in the water. And not only that, now he was describing all these things. Blotted animal carcass. Okay, what were the things he saw? Okay, animal carcass. Animal carcass means bodies. Okay, animal carcasses. Okay, human corpses. There were human corpses, dead bodies. Okay, yes. So these are the things that he saw from the rooftop. Okay, flooded and everything. So there were animal carcasses and there were human corpses. They were all just floating in every direction. All round, huge old trees had fallen. Okay, yes, huge trees. Actually, they would not fall, but because of that strong storm, the huge trees, huge and old trees had also fallen. Okay, yes, fallen. Okay, 2 coconut trees had fallen on the roof of their house. Okay, and there were some coconut trees. Okay, yes. So let us see what happens to the coconut trees. Okay, yes. So 2 coconut trees had fallen on the roof of their house. Okay, yes. 2 coconut trees fallen, and this was a blessing in disguise. Okay, yes. Now you keep this in mind. Blessing in disguise. Blessing in disguise. So blessing in disguise is when some bad things happen, along with that there are some good news. So falling coconut tree on the roof of the wall, it must be a bad thing, but because of these 2 coconuts, they were able to eat the coconut. They were able to which should I say, enjoy the tender coconut juice and the other things. Now, because of that, otherwise, if these 2 coconut trees had not fallen on the roof, they would stay there hungry because they did not have anything to eat. So, this is a blessing in disguise. Why? Because of these coconut trees, they were able to fill their belly, okay, for a few days. Did you understand? Okay, yes. Now, let me rub this. Okay. Yes, let us continue. Okay. For the next 2 days. Okay, now you see how the event flows. Okay, yes. We are talking about one particular event, and then the events are followed one by one. Okay, yes, there is a proper order. What came first, and then, okay, like this. For the next 2 days, Prashant sat huddled with his friends, family in open on the roof. Huddle, okay, yes. Huddled. So huddle means whenever you are afraid or whenever something bad things happen, what do? You normally stay together. All the friends, you stay together. So Prashant huddled with his friends, family in the open rooftop, and they froze in the cold and incessant. Incessant, I've already written. Okay, they froze. It was very cold because there was a continuous rain, and they didn't know. All they had was the clothes they had put on because the whole house was under the water. Okay, yes. And the water had washed away Prashant's tear. Okay, Prashant was already, which was frightened. He had never seen such devastation in his life, and he was crying. There was tear, but because of that water, the water washed away his tears. The only thought that flashed through his mind was whether his family had survived the fury of super cyclone. Okay, yes. So Prashant was just thinking about his own family. Remember, he is with his friend's family right now. So he was just away from his family. Now, the only thought that came in his mind was about his family. He was just wondering whether his family had survived this thing or not. Was he to be buried once again? Okay, now buried. I want you to understand this word buried. Okay, yes. So buried means someone who has lost a family member. Now recently, which a person had lost his beloved mother. So he had got so many family members in his village. Now, if something had happened to his family members, now once again, Prashant would be buried. So Prashant must have to, bear the, problem. Okay, yes, difficulty of losing his family members. So that was the only thought that was going on in his mind. Okay, yes. You see, now you see the conditions, critical condition of Prashant. He was away from his. Now you can also put yourself in his position. If something happens to you and you were all of a sudden away from your family, okay, then you would be very concerned about your family. Okay, you won't forget about having a peaceful sleep. Okay, so the same thing was going on this 19-year-old boy Prashant. Okay, yes. Now, 2 days later, which seemed to Prashant like 2 years. Okay, yes, obviously. Now, if you are having a very difficult time, okay, yes, even 2 days look as if it were 2 years. Okay, but if you are enjoying, and 2 days may look like just 2 minutes. Okay, so that is how we feel. So, Prashant, like 2 years, the rain ceased and the rainwater slowly began to recede. So recede means go away. Okay, yes, reduce. Okay, go back to the original. Okay, so because of the storm, the water level rises. Okay, yes, and then suddenly the water receded. Okay, yes, the water came to its own, standard place. Okay, yes, so recede. Okay, yes. And then Prashant was determined to seek out his family without further delay. So, as soon as the water level receded, okay, yes, he decided to look for his family members. He wanted to go to his village, which was just, a few kilometers from his friend's place. But the situation was still dangerous, and his friend's family pleaded with Prashant to stay back a little while longer. But Prashant knew he had to go. Okay, yes. So although the water level receded, but the danger was there. Okay, the situation was still very critical and dangerous. So Prashant's friend's family requested Prashant to stay there for a while until everything settles. But, Prashant was determined. He said he knew that he had to go and see how his family members were doing. Okay, yes. So that was the right decision. Okay, and then he equipped himself with a long sturdy stick and then started on 18 kilometers expedition back to the village through the swollen water. Okay, yes. So what did he do? He did not have any particular instrument. Okay, yes. Now, the only thing he carried, he equipped himself with a long, sturdy stick. Okay. Now, all that he had was a long, sturdy stick. Okay, long and sturdy means rough, not a small one. So, what was the purpose of carrying that? He wanted to just see, okay, yes, where the water was deep, where there was a porthole, like this. Okay, it will help him because everything is covered with the water. Okay, you don't have a proper road to walk on. Okay, and then started on his 18 kilometer. So his friend's house is 18 kilometers from his village. You got it? So he had to walk 18 kilometers. Now imagine you have to walk 18 kilometers without proper road. Okay, yes. And through the swollen flood water, it was a journey he would never forget. Yes, obviously, it must be first time in his life, and nobody would forget if one had to go under such condition. he constantly had to use his stick to locate the road, to determine where the water was more shallow. At places, it was waist deep. Okay, yes. Now look at, look at the water level. Waist deep means the water. Although he was walking on the road, at some places, the water was waist deep, means the water comes towards his waist. Okay, yes. At several points, he lost the road and had to swim. Now, sometimes he lost the road and he had to swim. Okay, not in the river, but on the road because everything was filled with the water. Okay, yes. After some distance, he was relieved to find two friends of his uncle. Okay, now he was, what should I say, swimming. You can say he was walking with the help of that stick. And suddenly, he's, what should I found two friends. Okay, yes, two friends of his uncle. Okay, yes, two friends of his uncle. At least he got some company, isn't it? So they both were returning to their villages. Okay, so they decided to move ahead together. At least they were friends, so they could be of some help to one another. Okay, yes. So that was the condition. Understood? The whole road, okay, on which you can walk on properly on any other day, now covered with water. How was the water? Okay, the level, it comes to the waist. Okay, now you can imagine. Okay, yes. Now let us continue. As they waded through the water, so the road was filled with water, and then you move. Okay, you just wait. Okay, yes. The scenes they witnessed grew more and more macabre. Okay, yes. Now, when they were just wading through just like the water boat, okay, on the water, they wade, they saw different kind of scenes, and all these scenes are not beautiful. Okay, you can also imagine what kind of scenes they would come across. Okay, they had to push away many human bodies. So the whole water was filled with human bodies, men, women, children, and there were carcasses of dogs, goats, cattle that the current swept against them as they moved ahead. So they were just wading through, just like you walk in the swimming pool wading, and they saw human carcasses there, so what should I say, dead bodies, animals, everywhere. Now, in order to move through, they have to, what should I say, move these carcasses. In every village they had passed, they could barely see a house standing. So they were passing, okay, you know, it's 18-kilometer long. Okay, yes. While they were passing, they could not see a single house standing. All the house destroyed. They could barely see. Okay, if there were some houses, those houses were concrete, strong one. Otherwise, rest of the houses were all carried away, destroyed by this storm. Prussian now wept out loud and long. No, obviously he was very young, and it was his first time seeing such a large-scale devastation. So he just wept out loudly and long. He started crying. He was sure that his family could not have survived this catastrophe. Okay, yes. So catastrophe means a destruction, a very strong destruction. Okay, yes, because of this, which we say, this storm. So you see, Prashant saw all this thing when he was returning to his village, and now he started crying. He started crying because by looking at the extent of the devastation here, he had got, what should I say, the least hope that his family would have survived this destruction. Okay, yes, just like others, their family, his family had also gone through this. Okay, so that was, he did not have much hope. Okay, yes. Now what happened? Eventually, now you see the orders, the events in proper order. Eventually, finally, Prashant reached his village. Okay, yes. Now that he had completed 18 kilometers distance, not on a proper road, but on the road which was filled with the water. And eventually he reached his village. What was the name of his village? His village name was Kalikutta. Okay, yes. So Kalikutta, just 18 kilometers from where he was staying, which we say. So he reached this. Now let us see. Okay, yes, whether what happened to his family members, what happened to his house. Okay, yes, because he had seen on the way, which were on the road, all the houses being destroyed. Okay, now let us see. Eventually, Prashant reached his village, Kalikuta. His heart went cold. Where their home once stood, there was only remnant of its roof. Okay, now he reached that. The moment he reached, he went to look for his house, and the house which used to stay strong, but now only the roof of his house was there. Otherwise, all the house was destroyed. Remnants of its roof were remaining. There were few remaining of the roof of the house. Otherwise, it was completely destroyed. Some of their belongings were caught, mangled, and twisted in the branches of the trees just visible above the dark waters. So because of that storm, all the which is things that we have in our houses, they get scattered here and there, and the water used to carry, and they were just hanging on the which is some trees, all these things. Okay, so young Prashant decided to go to the Red Cross shelter to look for his family. So Prashant saw that, oh, now something bad had happened because his house was totally destroyed. He did not see any of his family member there. Okay, now what did he do? He decided to go to the Red Cross. Okay, yes. So the Red Cross shelter. So Red Cross is, which is an NGO, okay, yes, who always comes to rescue people in the times of some natural disaster like this. Okay, so he decided to go to the Red Cross shelter to see whether his family members were fine there or not. Okay, yes. So let us try our best. Okay, let us try our best, which is if Prashant would be able to reunite with his family members. Okay, yes. Now let us see. Okay, yes. Okay, now he went to the Red Cross shelter. Among the first people he saw in the crowd was his maternal grandmother. Thank God. Okay, so he was just looking for the people, and the first person he saw was his grandmother. Okay, yes, grandmother. He saw his grandmother. Okay, yes. So it was not his paternal, it was his maternal. Okay, yes. He saw his maternal grandmother. Weak with hunger, she rushed to him, her hands outstretched, her eyes brimming. It was a miracle. They had long given up for dead. Okay, yes. So grandmother was so glad to see Prashant alive, because all the family members had just given up, because look at the, which we say, the extent of the destruction. Okay, yes. Now they thought that Prashant would have, which we say, died, okay, because of that storm. So grandmother was very happy. Now finally he was able to meet his maternal grandmother, and now he started looking for, which we say, other family members, and people started which are spreading the news. Okay, yes. And then quickly word spread, and his extended family members gathered around him and hugged him tight in relief. Prashant anxiously scanned the motley, battered group. His brother and sister, his uncles and aunts, they all seemed to be there. Okay, yes. And then he was reunited with the grandmother, and then he just looked for all the, because so that in that Red Cross shelter, there were so many people running here and there with lots and lots of panic. And he sent his eyes and he just scanned. He just looked for each and every group. Okay. And then finally he was able to see his brother, sister, uncle, and aunt. So all his family members were there. Okay. And it was a great reunion. He was very happy, okay, to see all the family members alive, although their houses were totally destroyed. Okay, yes, but he was very glad to be reunited with his family members. Okay, yes. Now, By the next morning, as he took in desperate situation in the shelter, he decided to get a grip over himself. He sensed a deadly grief setting upon the 2,500 strong crowd in the shelter. Okay, now they were in the Red Cross shelter. Okay, yes, Red Cross shelter, just like a refugee came. Okay, yes, and he was very sad. Okay, he just saw the plight. Okay, and how many people were there at that time? There were around 2,500 people. Okay, yes, all were the victim of this storm. Okay, that storm. All the 96 houses had been washed away. Now, because of this storm, okay, yes, 86 lives were lost in his small village. 86. Okay, in his small village, they counted and they saw that 86 lives were lost in the village, and 96 houses were washed away. Okay, and it was their 4th day at the shelter. Okay, they stayed there in the shelter for 4 days. Okay, and they had to continue staying there. So it was the 4th day when he, when he talked about all these things, all the 90. It was the fourth day at the shelter. So far, they had survived on the green coconut. Okay, yeah, they were able to survive. The only thing that they could eat were the green coconut. Okay, yes, you have got the coconut juice and you have got the inside, okay, tender part of the coconut. But they were too few to go around in such a tumult of people. Okay, so there were lots and lots of people in the Red Cross shelter. Okay, and it was not easy for the people to go here and there. Okay, the only thing they could eat, okay, yes, was the green coconut. You see, so that was the plight of the Red Cross. Our Prussian was very happy. He was reunited. Okay, yes. Now, this is the first part. Okay, so I have divided this lesson, Weathering the Storm in Ersama, into 2 parts. Okay, the part 1, it's about the storm. Okay, yes, how the storm destroyed everything. And the part 2, it talks about Prashant. Okay, that 19-year-old teenager, he became the leader. Okay, and then he started forming different groups. Okay, and then he started doing the welfare work. Okay, he was able to do so many things for the welfare of these people who were destroyed by this storm. Okay, now the second part, it's all the things that Prashant did for the sake of these people. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to make another video on the second part. Now, this is the first part. Did you understand? Okay, so I told you this lesson is based on the true event. Okay, 1999, a powerful storm hit Orissa. Okay, yes, and so many thousands of people have died. You can also Google it and try to get some information about this powerful storm. So during rainy season, monsoon time, the coastal places, okay, the places which are located near the coast, water, they normally used to experience the storm and cyclone, and so many destruction happen. Okay, yes. So that is the the first part. Okay, yes. Now after the first part, okay, I want you to do some of the exercises. There are some exercises, question and answer. I'm going to write these questions and questions, and I want you to go through this question and try to come up with your own answer. Okay, yes. So I'm going to stop here. Okay, we will see you in the next lesson.